The NCAA recently released a statement on the settlement of the House case. The settlement of this case will effectively end amateurism in collegiate sports as we know it. I know a lot of you aren't really interested in this. You'd rather be talking about football than our teams, but this will be the biggest change in collegiate sports since its inception, and I would think you'd like to know about it, hence the video. Now, the NCAA statement says that the five autonomy conferences, which are the Power Five, the Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, ACC, and the Pac 12, even though they're gone, is still a legal entity. So they voted on this as well. But between the Power Five conferences and the NCAA, have voted to settle the House case. The House case was filed by former Arizona State swimmer Grant House and includes former Illinois football player Tymir Oliver and two CU basketball players Sedona Prince. They are seeking compensation for lost NIL revenue, including broadcast, video game, and third party deals that took place from June 15th, 2016 to 2021, which is when NIL became active. This is an antitrust lawsuit. The student athletes claim that the NCAA conspired to constrain their ability to earn money from NIL deals, and in total, they are seeking more than $1.4 billion in damages. The House case is now a class action lawsuit on behalf of student athletes affected, but mostly for Division I football players and men's basketball players. Basically, this settlement is a path forward for schools to directly pay athletes by sharing revenue. I'm going to explain the settlement and then I'm going to talk about the problems that still exist and what I see for college athletics in the future. So, why did the NCAA settle? The NCAA was going to lose this lawsuit as they have lost all their antitrust lawsuits recently. They had the choice to settle out of court or lose in court, where damages were estimated to be anywhere from 4.2 billion to 20 billion, which would have been devastating. They're settling out of court, and in doing so, they will be paying damages. And they'll be paying damages to obviously both the lawyers and the college athletes that are part of the lawsuit. They will be paying roughly around $2.8 billion over the next 10 years. Two athletes who are covered under the lawsuit. And that will come from schools, and part of it will come from the NCAA. 40% from the NCAA, and 60% will come from the schools. Power conferences will pay nearly $700 million over 10 years, but non-power conferences will pay nearly $1 billion over that 10 years. More on that in a bit. Payments will go to Division I athletes who played from 2016 to around 2020. And if you're wondering why it only goes back to 2016, apparently there is a statute of limitations on this. 90% of the payout will go to Power 5 men's football and basketball players, and it will be based on some kind of allocation formula. Now, the other part of the settlement is a revenue sharing plan. Schools that wish to participate, this isn't required, will pay out an estimated $20 to $22 million annually to athletes. That amount will be based upon school revenue figures. 22% of revenue will go to athletes, increasing as income goes up. Revenue sharing will be in addition to scholarships. So scholarships are not going away, nor are nil payments, NIL payments, like everybody else calls it. And yes, athletes will be taxed on the income from revenue sharing. It's income. Like there's no magic fairy dust here to make income magically be tax free. So I've seen people ask questions about that. They'll be taxed. Now, distribution is up to the school. In other words, they can pay their women's basketball team more if they want. Whatever each school wants to share, how they want to share their revenue, that's up to them. Revenue sharing will begin in the fall of 2025, so it's not that far away. And another provision of the settlement will change scholarship limits. And the best way to describe this, it's been described as roster limits, but the best way to describe this is looking at baseball. Now, currently, baseball can give out 11.7 scholarships, which sounds goofy, but they have a roster size of typically 30 to 35 players. Under this new settlement, they will be able to give out 35 scholarships or whatever the roster size is determined to be for baseball in the future. So basically, every student athlete can get a scholarship. Now, this isn't finalized. None of this is finalized because it still has to be accepted by courts. The biggest change being discussed is lowering the football roster limits to 85 players. And this would eliminate walk ons. And if you think about it, they have to eliminate that concept anyway. They cannot allow a non scholarship player to be on a team anymore because that opens up even further lawsuits because of the employment issue. More on this in a bit. And Title IX applies to all this. Title IX is not about money, it's about representation, at least for now, until the courts settle that. And that means that scholarships are going to have to be evenly distributed between male and female athletes. All right, there is an enforcement portion to the settlement. At least that's the hope. There's a need to rein in the NIL contracts. We all think are crazy. But the NCAA wants to eliminate pay for play, which means they don't want athletes just getting paid by outside boosters to play football, for example. There must be a fair market value in place. And this will require additional antitrust exemption laws from Congress to be put in place. And one more thing I thought was interesting, apparently part of the settlement requires the plaintiffs to lobby Congress on behalf of the NCAA to set protections, basically to pass some laws that will help them with the enforcement. And really, what I mean by that is that the House settlement is a band aid without a law giving the NCAA antitrust exemptions. From what I understand, not being a lawyer anywhere except on Twitter, you cannot set restrictions on NIL or any type of salary cap without having collectively bargained with the athletes. Basically, they have had no representation in this, and by law, they need representation for all of this to be legal. So, the real solution to all these problems is to simply declare athletes as employees, and that way you could collectively bargain with them, then put them under contracts, much like the NFL. That would take care of Wild West type NIL contracts, and it would also take care of the transfer portal issues because players would be under contract, just like they are in the NFL. They can't just change teams when they want in the NFL. That would solve this problem. There's obviously a lot of problems with this. And what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about your problem with, ooh, I don't want athletes being paid and the idea of amateurism going away. I'm talking about real problems, what this is going to do to colleges and the sport. First of all, Nebraska will be fine. Nebraska is one of the most well run athletic departments in the nation. They make a profit. They don't steal from the academic side with student fees or otherwise, and they don't take taxpayer money. How are other schools going to fare with this? That's the big question because very few athletic departments actually make a profit, and this is going to cost a lot of money. So you're going to have a big separation of the haves and have nots even further than it already is. Now, earlier I stated that the cash payout of the settlement is going to cost nearly $3 billion, and that's going to be paid by the NCAA and the schools. Now, part of that is the non power conferences will pay nearly $1 billion over that 10 years. And the question for that is, how the hell are they going to get this money? They're already kind of struggling with income because most of the TV money is really going to the Big Ten and SEC. What about smaller colleges? I have to believe this will kill a lot of the athletic departments. I have no idea where they're going to come up with the money for this. And that's a real issue. So, what happens to the group of five schools, for example? There's talk of them setting up their own postseason, a playoff, because it's obvious they're not going to be part of the new playoff in the future. That's just kind of a joke. And I think that they should set up their own playoff. I'd watch a group of five playoff in a heartbeat. I think a lot of people would. Keep in mind that all these changes are coming at a time at which enrollment is dropping across the nation. Many colleges are already in peril. There'll probably be a lot of bankruptcies. And this is why I believe that this lawsuit settlement and these changes will force many to drop sports altogether. And the other problem with this is the enforcement part of the settlement will require antitrust exemption laws from Congress. And good luck with that. So, will this get rid of NIL? No. But the enforcement portion may enable schools to bring NIL in house and control it in a better fashion. Will this get rid of the transfer portal? No. The NCAA has lost lawsuits on that, and the transfer portal is here to stay, unless we go as far to declare them as as employees and we put them under contract. Is this the end of lawsuits? Absolutely not. Without an antitrust exemption law, there will be more lawsuits. There's already more in the pipe. And there's another class action lawsuit, the Fontenot case, and the House lawyers tried to consolidate that case with this one, but they were unsuccessful. Which, I mean, if you're a law firm, would you really want to consolidate your massive class action suit with another law firm? I don't think so, because it's just going to cost you money and be messy. So who knows what the result of all these lawsuits ultimately will be, but they're going to keep coming. So the end game for all of this is it's going to end in one of two ways. Number one, Congress will pass antitrust exemption laws for the NCAA, or ultimately student athletes will be ruled as employees, treated as such by athletic departments, and then those employees could have collective bargaining rights and contracts, like I said earlier, which would take care of NIL and the transfer portal. So, why is all this happening? Well, it's happening because college sports is worth incredible amounts of money. Kirby Smart has a $92 million buyout. Jimbo Fisher got paid nearly $80 million to be fired. And Scott Frost got a massive payout just to be the worst coach in Nebraska school history. Anytime you have that much money going around, you're going to get lawyers involved. The other reason this is happening is because of the phrase, there's nothing more powerful than an idea whose time has come. And the idea of paying athletes, its time is here. The political wind has changed against the NCAA and for the athletes. And I think that's true pretty much all over the board. They're going to have very difficult time getting any laws passed on their behalf. Now, I've seen a lot of people saying that they won't watch college football anymore, they won't watch college sports anymore, and this is ruining college sports. And quite frankly, I'd like to ask you why. I kind of get it. There's this romantic nature of playing for the love of the sport and things like that. When a sport is generating billions of dollars and you're seeing none of that, and you're responsible for a lot of the generation, it's okay to think that it should be shared. Obviously, I'm an older guy, and when I see change like this that's upsetting, no matter where it is, I ask myself, am I angry about this because it's bad, or am I upset because it's change? And that's the question I have for you. Do you think this is bad, or is it just change? I'm John Johnston with Corn Nation. Let me know your thoughts on this subject. Thank you.